Hello everybody, GSX-R o'clock is back. So if you watched the last series of its GSX-R o'clock, you'll see we got to a stage where we wasn't sure what to do with the carbs. But I finally made a decision and we've got ourselves a rebuild kit. Now you'll see this is a very comprehensive rebuild kit and it's got just about everything you would need in it. I was quite impressed with how much stuff was in there, so I decided to go for this kit. I was thinking about buying a second-hand set of carbs, which I might still do, but we're going to try rebuilding it first. So let's have a look at what's in the kit, shall we? So here we have the rebuild kit we got from eBay. I'm going to talk you through what's there. So we have the O-ring for the float bowl. We have the gasket for the top of the carb. We have the mixture screw, the pilot jet, the emulsion tube, the needle jet or the needle valve that does the float height, and we've got the main jet. And as you can see, we've got an O-ring there, that's for the choke. Got a little filter that goes on the needle valve, and the little O-ring and the spring goes on the mixture screw. So that's everything we need to rebuild the carbs. Now it's time to crack on and do some work. I've got to strip the top end of the carbs out. I've done the float bowl end. There's a couple of bits I need to replace anyway, but it's sort of mainly a part. And then what I need to do is separate each one of the carb bodies, because the main rail that opens the slides needs to come from out of the body so we can get the needle out to replace the emulsion tube. So it's going to be a bit fiddly, a little bit time consuming. I'm going to get the time lapse going and put some music on for you. So let's crack on. Okay, we've hit a small stumbling block. Now, the shaft here is the sprung one that actually affects how the slides open. Now, here there's this little contraption and it doesn't move, and I've noticed there's a roll pin in there, which I've never actually had to remove a roll pin before working on a motorcycle. You just don't tend to see them. So I'm going to have to try and knock that out so I can slide this shaft all the way out and get it out of these two carbs. so I can complete stripping it down. Taking those carbs apart wasn't quite as bad as I thought it would be, but quite interesting. I hope you found it interesting as well. So now it's time to rebuild the carb. I'm not going to talk you through every single carb, I'm just going to sort of show you how it goes together on one, and then we'll probably speed it up and put the rest together. So I'll walk you through everything I'm going to do. So we've got the comprehensive rebuild kit. I'm going to gently pour on the side. Tiny little O-ring. So what I'm going to do to start off with is I'm going to undo the main jet. Now the main jet is actually going to go back in. Even though the kit comes with a main jet, I'm actually going to put the ones back in because they're a bigger jet because of the different exhaust system and the different air filters. So I'm going to take that back out. Take that off, put it to one side because it is going back in. I'm going to take this little cover off here and again put it to one side because it's going back in. Now what I'm going to do is take this top piece out, the actual slide and all the mechanism. It's quite an intricate thing there. It's where you balance each one of the carbs from. It's a little bit different to CVs. And yeah, so we'll put that down because we're going to need to do some more work to that in a moment. So now I've got that out, you can see down the end of the carb, and what I want to replace is this emulsion tube just here. And I've had to take all of that out to get the tube out, so I'll be able to push it through, as you'll be able to see through the carb. Now that should just pop out, he says. Let's try it upside down, and hopefully, there we go, one emulsion tube. Now I'm going to talk to you a little bit about carbs, and lots of people have older bikes that run a bit rough, and they can never seem to get them quite running right. Now they're old bikes, the throttle's been used a lot, and things do wear out. Now a lot of people try and set them up or alter the fueling to account for worn parts, where in my personal opinion I don't think that's the way forward. I think the way forward is to replace things for OEM spec, good quality parts that aren't worn out, and it should, in theory, run as good as new. So that's why we're replacing things like the emulsion tubes. Lots of people talk about the wear of the emulsion tubes, but I never see a lot of people replace these. So that's the first job. Put that out the way, because it's never going in a carb again. And we've got our shiny new one. We'll have a quick look. And they do all look the same. Obviously I'm not measuring the holes, but they look the same size. And it looks nice quality, so we've got to put this one back in the carb. It's a little bit awkward, it's a little bit fiddly. Yeah. Might take me a couple of tries. Yeah. Yeah. I will get there, I promise. Here we go. Right. So that's halfway in. Now, I'll show you the old one again. On the emulsion tube there's actually a little groove, and that is to locate them so they don't twist and spin and move around. So I need to try and locate that on this one. Just so I can spin it around. See if I can turn that a little bit. Almost there. There we go. Just felt that locate. And now, oh, there we go. One new emulsion tube fitted. So I'm going to put this piece back on. I'm going to hold the emulsion tube with my finger. Then we're going to put this main jet back in. And then we're going to nip the jet up. Just like that. Now the new emulsion tube is fitted in there. So the next part I'm going to do is the pilot jet. Now you might have noticed in one of my other videos me talking about these aluminium tubes. I've looked in the genuine Suzuki workshop manual and I can't find anything about them, but the bike did run well on tick over, and there was no issues at all. So I'm actually going to put them back in because I believe they could be serving a purpose. What purpose that is I'm not sure, but like they do say, if it's not broke, don't fix it. Now I'm just going to have a look at these, see what difference there is. See if the holes look any bigger or smaller. That was a bit blocked still, so let's check the codes. Yeah, 32.5s, so they're both the same. So I'm going to put this piece back over there, and then I'm going to screw it down. So in there. There we go. One more piece of the puzzle done. Now I'm going to move forwards and outside of the carb to the mixture screw. Now I'm going to unscrew the mixture screw just in the front here. I'm going to wind it all the way out. I don't throw the tools everywhere. And now we can remove the mixer screw. Look at the end of that, it's probably seen some action. What I've got to try and do now is get the spring and the O-ring out. So I might need one of my little picky tools just to get that out of there. So got my picky tool, just gonna pop the spring out just there. Now there's a little washer just there, and then the O-ring. Come on. Oh no, there's another little washer. Oh no, that is the O-ring. That's pretty flat and worn, so I think it's a good time to be replacing these. So we'll get our new one against our old one. We'll just take a look, see if they look the same. Identical almost, apart from that one looks much newer. So we'll put these on back to front. We'll put the spring on, just like that. And then we'll have a search for our little washer, just like that. That can go on there. And then our lovely little O-ring. Just pop straight on. So what I've got to do is gently put this in here. And screw it in. Now what I'm going to do is carefully screw this all the way in until it's bottomed out, and then I'm going to double check what the workshop manual says to turn them out. Sometimes they're 1 3/4, sometimes they're 2 1/2. It's all different on different bikes. So like I say, screw this in all the way, but very gently because you don't want to ruin the taper. There we go. And then before I put the carbs back on the bike, I'll double check the manual and do the amount of turns that is required. So now I'm going to turn my attention to the top half of the carb, or where the slide is. Now I want to replace these needles because I'm not sure which ones they are, and again they can wear along with the emulsion tube. So I've got to try and take this mechanism out with a little Allen key, and then in theory the needle should come off, and then I'll put the new one in. So I've got my little Allen key here. That one's undone. I'll move this over, get to the back one, or the front one, depending on how you look at it. And now, hopefully, that comes out. And then we have the needle. So there we have it. Now it's out, I can actually have a look and see what it says on it. So it says 6DP3. Now I'm not sure if that's standard or if it's aftermarket. I'm going to double check and find out, but I think it might be aftermarket, but it looks sort of factory stamp, I'm not sure. But here is our new one, and if you look at these, they're quite a bit different, which is concerning. I might have to look into this and just double check, so bear with me. I'll come back and then let you know what decision I make. I've done the research about the needles and they're different. The one that the kit come with definitely isn't for these carbs. You can tell by looking at them they're definitely different, and I've gone through my Suzuki workshop manual and the ones that were fitted were the correct ones. Now they're a bit worn and I don't really want to put them back in because it's a bit of a job replacing them. So I'm going to have to get a new set of needles before I can finish rebuilding the carbs. So unfortunately this video is not going to finish quite how I was hoping, but that's, you know, life, that's how things are sometimes. So thanks again for watching, everyone. We really do appreciate it. We love your comments as well, so feel free to say hello. If you don't want to miss any of our uploads, don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon, and then you'll get a notification every time we do an upload, which is normally Sunday nights at 9 PM. So until next week, guys, we'll see you later.